Then, of course, they got the two. Oh,
we're live, Mr. Schwag.
Yeah,
all right, we are live.
Good evening.
I know. Good evening, and welcome to Shootin the Shizz with DK and The Schwag, with the lost Leatherface, Kemper killer Leatherface, Brett Wagner.
Papa from Desert Fiends now. Actually, before we introduce that lovely lady that's down below us right there, I got some pictures back from Desert Fiends, and I don't even know if I can put it on my table.
Really?
I don't know.
I bet you they let you. It's advertising for the movie.
I know, but I have that thing right here, and I don't know if I can.
Nobody's going to call it a sniz. Papa Pussy Face.
They might. But yeah, anyways, why don't you introduce our
wonderful
co-host?
I think one of our favorite guests. And it's been a little while. It's been a minute since 2023 ScareFest, which Adrienne graced us with her amazing presence and kept us updated with ScareFest. And here we are in 2024, ready to rock and roll ScareFest. Adrienne Deakins Elder. Good to see you.
For having me back.
Oh, we love you. So we're glad to have you back.
You all are the best. You flatter me.
Oh, well, got to do a little
that wasn't John's first time at ScareFest, but that was my first time in 2023. And
what'd you think?
What do you mean, what did I think? It was just off the wall craziness. It was, but you guys, you know, the big thing about a big convention like that, and we've gone to a couple, but you guys have a big convention, and one of the nicest places I've ever been to sign at that convention center. The Central Bank Center of Lexington, Kentucky is amazing. And you guys, your staff was tremendous, which if you have that many people coming in and you have that many guests, by the way, no one books even half of the amount of guests you guys do. I don't know how you pull it off. We'll have to ask what the secret is later. But if you can't pull that off unless you have a good staff, there's no way.
Right. Our staff, and for people who haven't been to ScareFest, it's STAPH. We want you to come get infected at ScareFest, because once you do, you'll just want to come back all the time. It's not like, one of these gigs where we just get together once a year during the show. Once you come to the show, either as a volunteer or as a vendor or a guest, you are ScareFest family. And that is something that we keep alive all year. We all stay connected. We've got a Facebook group. We do a lot of stuff together. So it's a lot, because it's a big family. We have like 150 plus volunteers to help the show run. But I mean, even still, you're at like, 25,000 people, 150 people running a show. It's a lot. So they are wonderful. And I can't say enough good things about everybody that works with us. So I'm really happy to hear you say that. They're my babies. I love them.
It's amazing how many people they get in, how many people are excited and wait outside the door Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. I'd be out there and I'd see Brandon out there, because he'd kind of keep an eye out there, which great guy. I got to give Brandon big praise. He treated my parents so great. They had the time of their life. Can't thank them enough. You both enough. But you just look at that crowd out there, and it's unbelievable. It looks like you're at a football stadium.
Right.
It's nonstop.
And that's what I was going to say. So, there are a lot of things, and I am not ever in the practice of ever talking down on someone's event. I am always more than willing. Like, I've had promoters, contact me, and, they're newer in the game. Like, obviously the people that have been doing it forever aren't going to call up and be like, hey, but it is a lot of trial and error. This is our 16th show we're going into. We've been around for, I'm going to say this, in May will be the 17 years since I went to my first ScareFest meeting, and I will be 34 years old in May. So in May, I will have been doing ScareFest half my life. What do you have, Brett? What is that?
He's drinking cologne.
No, oh God. I'm on Facebook a lot, right? So I keep seeing these ads for that, not alkaline water, but
alcohol water.
No, but so I've been trying it, and I spent
as cool as yours, but
Oh, well, this will go off in a little, it'll beep and then it'll be ready to, I don't know, being
Fancy.
ground, all this grounded stuff. I'm just trying anything to last another couple months.
I love that. And I want to look into that because this is a filtered bottle and I pay $60 for the filter that goes in my refrigerator. And I drink like 5 of these a day, like as water is all I drink. And I go through filters and I still I think this stuff is still hard on my kidneys. And I mean, it's twice filtered water.
Yeah. So this is plugged in. So you plug this, you charge a battery and then it does something special to the water after a minute and a half. And
it looks like my lava lamp when my lava lamp's going. That's what it looks like.
It does look like a lava lamp. I'm pretty hip.
I was like, oh, that's cool. You're gonna drink that. But
another different thing about you guys is you also back up your show with a TV show or a streaming show,
yes,
which goes almost all year long with the big man Wes and you and a couple other people. And not a lot of people listen. The formula you guys do is so perfect. I'm not sure why some of the other bigger cons don't follow, but that's fine if they don't but to back it up with a great streaming, I like to call it a TV show because it is ScareFest TV, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It's Wes's 60th birthday today, so happy birthday, Wes. He is
Happy birthday.
It's 10:30 and he's 60 and he's a farmer, and so he's also got to be up in like, I don't know, 3 hours to go and deliver a calf or something probably.
He kind of snuck out of that sleepaway camp thing he promised. He kind of snuck out of that one.
No.
Did he do it?
He said he would do it if he got enough Patreon subscribers, and he didn't meet his goal for doing the cutoff shirt, but that is still ongoing. So if you have the opportunity to check out ScareFest TV, Wes also has a Patreon, and he's got even a free category on there. So if we can get him up to, I think it's 100 Patreon subscribers, he will do that cosplay for FrankenCon when we all go to FrankenCon in May. So I told him I was going to go on there and create like 3 or 4 alias accounts. But he's an awesome writer. He's very entertaining. And he goes on there and he makes posts, and some of them are tiered. So like if you actually pay money to be a Patreon subscriber, you get like exclusive content. But it basically is like to help him. He had a heart attack just a little bit over a year ago. And after that, it's called the Cardiac Episode Patreon that he writes. And so he uses that money to help him do 5Ks, and he's been going to the gym, and he quit smoking like a few months actually before his heart attack. But Wes is phenomenal, and so if you all don't know Wes Forsyth, you should, because he's great. But
well, he's a big part of he's a pivotal part of the convention.
If Wes, like, this is not a joke, Wes is my rock, and so at least a few times a week, normally not this early in the year, but definitely even this week, 3 or 4 times this week, I will call Wes and Anita, his wife, and I will just be like, oh my gosh, this is going on, and like I need someone to center me so that I don't just fly off the handle. Everybody thinks that like I'm so patient and I'm so nice, and that Wes is like cantankerous and mean, but it's not. It's the other way around. He talks me down. So God bless Wes.
He only acts that way because he's got to keep you calm.
That's right, exactly. And we coined the phrase, calm the fuck down. So when Wes starts breaking that out on me, we're getting close to the show.
Hey guys, check out the ScareFest live show, especially even if you're not going, you might entice you to go, but if you do want to go, you better plan your trip soon because it sells out fast.
Yeah.
But you guys do the announcements, sometimes more than one guest. You bring on some of the guests on your show that are coming to the show. I think you guys do an awesome job. I'm a big fan of you guys.
Yeah, we had 4 guest announcements last week.
I know. I was just catching up with all of them. It's like, damn.
And we've been talking about this. So last year, I think we ended up with 84 guests. I'm pretty sure is where we landed last year. Somewhere around in there. And we're gonna be pretty on par with doing that again this year. I don't want to say that it's going to be 90, but it's looking like it's going to be maybe a little more than we had last year. I hope not, but because it's a lot, it is to organize. But we wanted to go ahead and start getting some of our guest announcements out there so that people can start planning. And another thing we're doing this year is we are trying to get our photo ops online much earlier than we did last year. Last year was just, there was a lot going on, and Brett can tell you he was a saint with, you know, us trying to get people, especially for the costume ops. We got a costume to get into, and Brett was back there waiting on us more than once throughout the weekend. So, you know, thank you. I know that.
Yeah, but jumping the ship real quick and talking about two guests that are going to be there that are going to do photo ops. Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich. And let me just tell you, folks, when there's 2,000 people that sign up for photo ops with these guys, when she releases the photo ops, if you want to get photo ops with them or anybody, but I'm just telling you specifically, make sure you get those, you sign up very quickly, because it's a phenomenon. It's like, I mean, it is a friggin' phenomenon when these two guys sign, and the people, I don't know what's going. I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and you know, it is, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I've talked about this with some people before. You know, bringing in different guests. Like, there are some people that come in and, you know, they aren't great with crowds. They don't socialize a ton. And so when they come in, they almost seem a little standoffish, you know, or maybe a little dickish, even some of them. And it's just because they don't have very extroverted personalities. And then every once in a while, you get some people that they're just really in their element when they're meeting fans. And the more appearances they do, the more that snowballs. There may be some people that go to our show that have seen Kane Hodder at ScareFest 12 times, and they are going to come and see Kane Hodder for the 13th time because, you know, they have a rapport. He's great. And I think that especially like Matt and Skeet, you just hear the best things about them, and you're right. So
they spend the time. I mean, especially, I mean, they both do. But if you watch, I mean, I was sitting across from Lillard and I was watching these 600 people on a Friday night. And normally if you have 600 people, they try to keep it moving. But Matthew, to his credit, takes his time with every single person.
He does.
It's not like, oh, hey, let me sign that for you. Thanks. Who's next? No, he takes his time.
Yeah, and that is something, you know, I'm sure that we'll probably do another episode when we get a little bit closer to the show, and we'll have like, you know, some logistics updates and things like that. But I am telling people now, with Matt, there is absolutely no guarantee that you will get an opportunity to meet him and get his autograph just because of that. I mean, he takes several minutes with each person. And while that is an incredible experience, it does tend to make pretty long wait times. So we will actually have some sort of a system in place. The year before last, when we had Robert England, we did a ticketing system for Robert where you could come in and you could get basically your spot in line, and then you could go and enjoy the rest of the show. And if your number got called, then, you know, you could go and you could get in line. But that way you weren't standing in line all day, and you got to go meet the other guests, catch a panel, go to the vendors. We will definitely be implementing something like that with Matthew this year, because we don't want everybody stuck in his line all day, and then they don't get to go and see everyone.
They can't go see the Doomsday's Crypt table if they're in line all day, Brett.
That's right.
Hey, come on.
So, and we have to get them out of that line so they can come see the Doomsday's Crypt table, because
they'd have to kind of walk by. We're right in front, guys. So if you do go there, make sure you check us out. We're gonna have some cool pieces already in the works for ScareFest this year.
Exactly.
But one thing I want to touch on with ScareFest, as somebody who, you know, does a vendor, but also takes my guys to conventions and this and that, and among other things, but the layout, even though it's big and you got all these people, all these vendors, all these guests, it is very easy to get around in there and get to the people you want to see. You're not going to get lost in there. You're not going to have any problems. There is walking, probably more just getting in, because once you're in there, everything is so laid out so well and
Like,
thought out so well. And I
right.
know you do a lot of that or all of it. And I know you were brainstorming it last year and you're like, I got to think and figure. So this line's going to be long and this one, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of have to assume and go by your gut feeling too. I know this is going to be a big line, but you know, and how to lay it out, but it's perfect.
Yeah, we go to, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I won't ever knock other shows. I have been to shows and I've gotten some fantastic ideas on ways that we could do things at ScareFest. I've gone to some shows and I've learned things that we shouldn't do at ScareFest. You know, so it's all learning experience. And, you know, also, I think especially like if there are people watching this, I saw today, actually two different examples of this today. There was a con that put, you know, some communication out about something they wanted to get across to their fans, and there was another con today that made a cancellation announcement. And if I see that post, you know, sometimes it'll highlight a comment or two in your feed when you're scrolling by. And I tell you, some people are just out here being mean to con promoters for no reason. So there's a lot of stuff that's out of our control. And I am so grateful that we have the ScareFest family that we do, because that would never ever happen in our ScareFest group. There would be like a brawl right there on the page. Everybody's wonderful. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that's just not, that you can't predict, you can't control. I screw up in a big way sometimes. We brought Lloyd Kaufman 2 years ago. I had no idea. I didn't know. It's not my thing. I put him in a spot that he should have been in a much bigger spot. He
was great. I loved him. He was such a nice guy.
I loved him. And I'll know now, you know, like if we bring Uncle Lloyd back, he's got to have a football field of space. They had people over there playing the electric violin in his booth and all sorts of
girls.
Yo, the girls, wonderful, yes, but just yeah.
He puts a trauma table right on his table. I mean, it's everything trauma visually that you're gonna want. I mean, the guy puts on a show.
They're phenomenal. So I mean, we have so many great people that go into, you know, building this show, and it's like you never know like how things are going to go. Like I did this show last year for the first time, and we were just chit chatting, and then like we talked so long after the show. Brett was like, "Okay, kids, I gotta go to bed. Like I can't stay here and talk anymore. So go." And it was like this beautiful friendship blossomed between us all. And you just never know like when that kind of stuff is going to happen. So, and then you never know, sometimes people are mean, but not very often.
I've met some great people at Scare. Brian Bremer was one. He was so excited his first year. He was on the show last night. Obviously, we talked about you guys.
I missed
We love him to death. Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. That's great.
Yeah, that was with me and Beatrice last night, and such a great guy because he came to the table and he was so new to cons in 2022 too, and he had those wide eyes. He's like, "Hey, I'm Brian Bremer." It's like, I know who you are. Yeah, exactly. And he was just such a good dude. You guys brought him back last year. It was great seeing him again. And he was sitting next to Beatrice, and they became close friends. And yeah, it's a great experience.
It's really funny because like early last year, late the year before, I was at a show and Brandon was supposed to be there and he couldn't make it. So he texted me and he's like, "I need you to go find Brett Wagner and introduce yourself." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Brett Wagner, he's a guest at the show. You need to go find him and introduce yourself." And I was like, "Okay, but what do you want me to say?" Like, and he's like, "Well, I want to bring him to ScareFest." And I was like, "Okay, well, you could have said that." And then I was like, "I don't know this guy. Like, I'm going to walk up and he's going to be like, 'All right, who the hell are you?'" And then like, I don't think I've ever told Brett this, and I hope this doesn't embarrass him, but I want to see your face when I say this. So we did the show. I introduced myself to him. He was lovely. We took a photo together. Later on that night, I was going back to the hotel, and it was after the show. It was like 10:30. And Brett texted me, and he's like, "Hey, it was nice to meet you. Thanks so much. Can you send me that picture?" And I was like, "It's 10:30 at night. Is he trying to booty call me right now? Is he trying to figure out where I am? Because I didn't know him."
The wife.
So I was like, "I don't know this guy." And I texted Brandon and I was like, "How well do you know this Brett guy?"
That's just Brett though. But once you get,
well, he said he's really nice, and also he's probably on West Coast time. It's like 7:30 to him. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. So, but I mean, I didn't know. And then you go and you meet him, and he's so nice, and you're just like, okay, all right, cool. This is cool. But yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm too old for the booty call. I'm over the hill for that.
He keeps, I'm so proud of Brett because I seen him with the fans and him doing the convention scene, and he just keeps growing and growing and growing. His popularity and people getting to meet him. People are excited, so excited to meet him. He's such a popular guy now at the conventions.
Well, I've learned it just like I learned by watching the other people. But the Bill Mosleys, the Doug, the Hug, Doug Jones, and all these guys, and you watch these guys, and you see, and also Felissa Rose.
Yeah.
And you see how they are with their fans, and I'm like, if you want to, we're blessed that because we've been in some movies that we can go to these things and we can make some money on the weekend and have a good time. It's a blessing. It doesn't always happen like that, and it's a blessing that the horror community accepts that, and we get to go in and make money. But if you don't put yourself out there as friendly, that word gets around. Yes. No one wants to book you, and then just. It's not fun. Now, if you're working all the time getting acting gigs and you have no time for it, which sometimes there's cancellations because people get booked on a movie and they got to go do their movie.
Of course, but you don't want that. Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to burn bridges with the fans because, man, word will get around and they will tell you, and they'll start talking about you, and then the promoters will be like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if I want to bring him out." So. Yeah, you gotta be humble.
They want to bring Brett out. I mean, Brett just brings attention, he does, and he shares it out. He promotes every convention he's going to. He tries to support all the conventions. Those are the little things that go a long way. That he does.
Big difference. It does. I mean, just in 2022, we had never really used Instagram because we're old, and it wasn't a thing. So our Instagram only had 1,200 people on it, and there were a couple of the ladies that came in 2022, some of our guests, and they put out some posts the first day of ScareFest, and by that point in the last 2 months leading up to the show, I had grown the page to about 3,200 people, and I was so proud of that. I was like, yes, this is awesome. They went on there, made 2 posts, we were over 4,000 before the end of the first day, just because a couple of the ladies that came out posted us on their Instagram, and I was like, okay. And now I think, it's getting up there, but we've tried to be a little bit better about that, but just a little bit of networking and sharing that. Thank you. It just says Facebook user. I don't know who said that, but thank you. But yeah,
I think that's my wife. Anyways,
I gotta say one thing though. Well, go ahead, Brett. You go ahead.
No, I was making a joke. No, we're good.
I want to hear the joke now. Now I want to hear a joke.
Have a good stream, Adrienne. That was my hope. I said that was my wife.
Listen, I love your wife, and I love your wife, and no smoke. I don't want no smoke.
Yeah,
well,
I don't want it either.
My sister, Doc Dam, became friends with that. Doc Dam went to Creep Econ because now she's a big fan of Brett and got to hang out with his wife Dee Dee, and she loves him.
They were cruising around meeting celebrities.
That is awesome.
But she took his sister, and then my wife knows Charlie Hunnam pretty good, so they walked over to the side of his table, and she introduced his sister to Charlie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
maybe we can
and
get
I'm
her
like,
to go to ScareFest this year and help me out.
I would love that. And also, if you could bring the whole family.
I want to. I know it's been a little tough because my mom is just, it's tough. But I told him if there's one convention, if they can make it to, it's ScareFest.
Gotta be ScareFest.
Because even Brandon's like, do your parents, because he was, I got to shout out, ScareFest, not just because how big you guys are and stuff, but the fact you are that big and you took the time to reach out to me and my parents and Brandon and, what can we do? Like when my parents got there, he didn't want them waiting. He's like, I don't care about the bet. He walks by the security. He's like, these are VIP. Don't bother them until, they don't need a Yeah, I mean, Brandon was great, and I mean, that meant the world to me. You guys didn't have to do this. You guys got so many amazing people, but you guys are good people.
Whenever we bring anybody in, and I've had some people make like, not jokes, but I mean, it is kind of funny, like Southern hospitality. It's like, oh, hi, Christy. Oh, hi, Jake. Thank you. When we have people like come in, if you are hosting an event, and you have someone come out, it's like, for me, it's like I am taking personal responsibility to make sure that they come as our guest and they have everything they need to have a good, successful time at the show. And I mean, it's like, you have somebody coming over to, like, I don't know, fix your water pipes or something. And you're like, they come in and you're like, can I get you anything? Bottle of water, something like that. They're like, ma'am, I'm on the, like, that's not, yeah, well, my granny would roll over in her grave if she thought I had somebody come over here and I was, not being hospitable. So, I mean, I think a lot of it just kind of stems from that. I don't ever want to come off as overbearing. I feel like I ask people like a lot of questions or give a lot of information, leading up to the show. But I don't know. That's something that's really important to me.
Well, with the not like a recap of last year, but what did you guys for 2023 learn that might be changed, or what might be new for this year, 2024?
Well, that's a really great question. We actually just had a big talk this last week, and when we wrap up here, I actually have a meeting in about 30 minutes. I know it's crazy because it's almost midnight, but when you're busy, with the Celeb Photo Ops crew. And we are going to be talking. Brett brought up a great point earlier. I swear to God, Brett should be running ScareFest. It sounds like there will
Don't give him any ideas.
Right?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'll move.
We do anticipate very big crowds for, the show this year and for photo ops. So we talked to the convention center last week, and we will be expanding the square footage that we have. So if you haven't been to ScareFest before, our convention center is multi-level. We are on the top floor, the third floor. And when you walk in from outside, you're on ground level because the center's on a hill. So when you walk downstairs 3 levels, you can walk out onto Main Street, or you can go up 3 levels and walk out onto High Street. But we are on the top, and our vendor room is 100,000 square feet. And then we've got 2 really large hallways outside that we utilized. And then downstairs, we used a lot of meeting room space. We're expanding to the other side of the second level to take over the meeting room space they have down there as well.
Okay.
And I think that we're going to have to move photo ops off the top floor completely. It was really great having it so close by. We really loved that. However, we don't have the square footage. We would have to take out a lot of booth space upstairs to accommodate growing photo ops more.
And you can't do that. That's one of the big things for coming to a convention like ScareFest is the hundreds of vendors that are there. As much as, I mean, I'm a fan, right? John's a fan. As much as we like to go and have a booth at something, but we want to go see other people's booths.
Yes.
We want to see all that stuff. So yeah, you got to treat the vendors good, which you guys do.
And that was the other thing. So every year we let our returning vendors, come back, and they get to pick their spots first. And if you're like in a prime spot, like a wall, an end cap, or the first row, then you get to pick your booth first. And then the inline booths get a chance. And if someone in an end cap or a wall space didn't sign up, they can go to an end cap or a wall, and so on. So this year, after all of our returning vendors signed up, we had about 40 spaces left. And we opened up applications for new vendors, and we got over 115 applications. So to go through the vendors, and this is something I've been wanting to get on our group and kind of talk about a little bit, is, it's a huge task. And I have a spreadsheet with 115 entries on it, and they're categorized, that we go in and we look at so many things. But you want to make sure that you don't have an overabundance of retailers. You know, you want to make sure you've got a really great mix of like, you know, Doomsday's Crypt is a really great example. So like the setup, you've got the busts, you've got some things that are for sale, some things that are for show. Everything you have at your booth is unique, you know, and there are a lot of shows you go to and it's like, okay, Pop's booth, which Pops are great, you know, collectibles especially, but you don't want to go down a row and see the same item in 8 booths out of 12. You know, you don't want that. And it's not good for the vendors either, obviously. So, you know, we really are meticulous about trying to make sure that we get a great mix of folks coming in. And I mean, you know, this year, even taking sponsors, we've had several folks reach out and they want to sponsor the show. And we have to, you know, kind of let them know if you're not on brand, if you're not in, you know, horror, then we're not going to put a Kroger logo up or something like that. And so it's a lot going into it. And of course, every year the rent goes up. We had a pretty substantial rent increase this year. So moving downstairs, each of the rooms down there, you know, is quite a bit of money each. And so you have to try to find that revenue somewhere. Like, what can we put in this spot that's going to generate some more money? Is it, you know, more guests? Is that, you know, kind of what we're looking at? Do we want to add a couple of vendor booths to help offset some of this cost? And if we do, what are they? It's a lot.
Have you ever thought about what the in costume photos or the photo ops, like you talking about bringing it downstairs?
Yes.
Where you can get your photo op and then you got to go stand back in line and it can be everybody. Have you ever thought, like, I know a lot of conventions do it that way, but having a whole room, being able to do photo ops with the group of people who pre-buy them and then let them all get it signed and kind of make it a community thing for the, you know,
I don't know if so
might make it smoother.
Right. When we meet tonight, one of the things that we're looking at is the space that we have downstairs, because where we're expanding the photo ops, it's going to be like multiple booths instead of last year we had 2 booths, but there was only 1 photographer. So there was only 1 session happening at a time. You may be in the plain backdrop booth, or you may be in the booth with a cabin and a big prop. But only 1 is getting shot at a time. We've always done that for 15 years. And we are at the point now where last year at Celeb Photo Ops, man, I cannot sing their praises enough. They did so many photo ops with that crew last year. They were crazy. And at the end of the weekend, you know, they were just exhausted. And they were like, if you grow, like, we can't do this number again with 1 team. If you grow, we have to come in earlier. We have to set up earlier. You know, we have to have two teams running this, and which is great. You know, I mean,
yeah, that's gonna be a game changer, to be honest with you, because the people won't have to wait in as long as line, and look at those. The photographer and that crew are great, as you say.
Yeah.
I mean, people, you know, as actors, we'll get a little testy. We get in there and we're like, oh gosh, you know, and then you think about it later on and you're like, God, those people are sitting there for 8 hours a day doing photos. Next, great. You know, all day long. And they really got a tough job.
They do. And they're wonderful. It's a fantastic company. You know, they're always so great with our last minute. 2 years ago, we literally were like, hey, Brandon Griffith, he's probably not watching this because he never hardly watches anything live or to do with ScareFest ever. He's always busy. But he had this idea. We were out to dinner with Ari Mihailoff at Nick and Norman's a few months before the show. He'd come into town. And there is oh my gosh, hold on. I don't want to say the movie wrong. But there is a movie where R.A. plays a truck driver, licensed to drive.
Black Dog? Oh, okay. Never mind. No, it wasn't that one.
Yeah, licensed to drive. And he plays this crazy tow truck driver. And Brandon wanted to make it a photo op. So we asked Celeb Photo Ops if they would come out to the loading dock because we found someone with a tow truck to bring into the loading dock so RA could get up behind the wheel of this tow truck and you could stand in front of the tow truck like you were about to get run over.
That would have been great.
That's awesome.
And we did it. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, they're great. They're flexible. We had some last minute additions the last 2 years, and they're already done. And I'm like, could you just squeeze one more on there? Just one more. And we did that to them so many times. I can't believe that she didn't, you know, just wring my neck. But I feel like I've kind of gotten off point a little bit to your question about how things may change from 2023 to 2024. We have definitely been looking at a lot of different things. The floor plan will largely, you know, be pretty similar, but we do have some things that we are looking at having to expand a little bit. Yeah.
But you're always putting feeders out there too, and asking the fans what they'd like to see and see some choices. I know the story time hour, a lot of the celebs enjoyed doing. I know Brian and Beatrice were talking about that.
Sure, yeah.
Felissa, they loved that. That was a lot of fun too. It's kind of small and intimate.
Yes.
And it's these after hours things, guys, if you don't know about them, like at ScareFest, go and check it out. They'll do like the story time hour, or Beatrice, I think, did the yoga, and it was just a bunch of. I missed it. Me too. Was busy drinking the night before, and I totally forgot about it. But
well, let's talk about some of the extras that you guys do. I mean, besides the vendors, besides all the celebs, besides the photo ops, you want to get a tattoo? We got tattoo artists going to be down there.
Yeah.
We got the ScareFest Horror Film Festival, which I hope people have been sending in. And then you guys do some other cool stuff, as we talked about: yoga, storytelling, the drinking. Go have some whiskey with some famous. I mean, what's coming up? What are we doing this year?
So this year it's a little bit too early to really say. We definitely are going to be looking at bringing back some events that, you know, we've had in the past. There were a couple of events the year before that we'd had for a few years to throw axes. We did battle axe throwing. We did bowling, Scream Queen bowling a couple of years. And those kind of got to the point where they were pretty difficult to facilitate. So we stepped away from them for a year. But I will be doing some polls on ScareFest group to kind of see what people are thinking. I put some feelers out there about doing like maybe a paint and sip class. If I can find a celebrity who is in the least bit channeling their inner Bob Ross. I've got a great company that is looking at, you know, sending some instructors out to do paint and sip. We've got, our spooky cookie decorating. That was really great last year. We had a gentleman named Rob Whalen who came in and did a special effects class. So he did like prosthetics for beginners on Friday, and then he did a prosthetics class on Saturday, and then on Sunday, our kids' day, we had the like wounds, like the kids could like put on a fake wound, and we had a cookie decorating class for them. So a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And then we've got some that we have to get them under contract before I can talk about. But the next time I come on the show, I'm going to have some really cool stuff to talk about.
Always cool stuff at ScareFest.
Yeah,
I've gone to some really good cons, but ScareFest is by far like it's not just the big things you guys do and bringing all these celebrities in. It's the little things you do, like I mentioned, like the little things that are thoughtful, even towards vendors or guys like me. And
that's so great.
And the things after hours, like the story time, and you guys always thinking of something. And it doesn't have to be something that's going to be huge and packed, and but things that the fans can come together, and like story time. It was a good amount of people, but it wasn't overbearing, and you could go and talk to these people. Like Dave Sheridan's hanging out because Felissa's there, so I'd met Dave a bunch of times, talked to him a bit. You know, Felissa's there. You know, obviously Beatrice was there, and you know, a handful, a group of people downstairs. And I think some people just missed out on it.
Yeah,
but I think it was a great event that people could have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, we did a lot of interactive things during the weekend too. So like we had the ScareFest trading cards, and I might have seen.
Great.
This is series 2, And Terrence Muncie does these ScareFest trading cards, and then they're all over the con. And if you collect all of them, you get a special metal card. So he'll be doing these again this year. And then we also had a bunch of people in the group who made friendship bracelets. And we had like a place where you could go and exchange like bracelets, and there were some really cool ones on there. Like I love Devil's Rejects. It is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I got Sid right here, and it's Captain Spaulding. But somebody messaged me and like, I want to make you a bracelet. What should it say? And I was like, Tutti fucking fruity. So I got my bracelet there. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that go on. The events are great, and I definitely do want to tell you all more about them. Just until we get some ink dry on some things, I can't say anything.
Another great guest, though, Bill Mosley. What a good dude. Him and Ken Forey sitting next to each other was great, because those guys, both those guys are just awesome. Really good
now,
people.
Somebody pointed this out in our group, and I absolutely encourage this. So the website that I use to like check what shows are going on, what people are out on the circuit. Trivia. So exactly, we do a horror trivia to kick off the launch party on Thursday. Totally spaced on that. There's so much going on. But one thing that someone pointed out is there is another huge show going on. Brett Wagner,
he'll do taco class. He'll do taco class.
Oh my God!
Brett's taco class. I love it.
Class with Brett Wagner. Yes, sign me up. I'm there. Hold my calls. We're going to be doing that.
I don't know if he knows how to make them, but he certainly knows how to find them and find the.
I will find a good taco.
Yeah,
he'll be talking every taco area. The big taco, the Brett Wagner taco tasting contest.
The big taco. That's my name. I got to get some money to open a restaurant. The big taco.
Instead of big Schwag, it's going to be the big taco now.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
You've been telling people for months. Look we're only in, for God's sakes, we're not even to March yet, but you've been telling people for months that, hey, listen, stuff's going to be selling out. There's going to be, and I've been sharing some of this stuff. John's been sharing, and people, hopefully they listened, because you're right. Sold out of a bunch of stuff already.
So this year was incredible. And I'm still in shock. So right before our tickets went on sale on February 1st at midnight. Clock turned over to February. Tickets went on sale. Well, the week before, Brandon had COVID. 2 weeks before that, Brandon had COVID. He got better. 2 days later, I got the flu. And my flu turned into pneumonia. So I had to go to the hospital and get a chest x-ray and all this. So I come back. And it's the night before tickets go on sale. I got my antibiotics, I got my steroids, I got my inhaler, and we put the tickets up for sale. And Brandon and I are working through the night. It is 2:30 in the morning, and when Brandon quits answering my text messages. And one of the last things he said to me was, "Damn it, LOL, you got me sick through text. I have a fever again." And I was like, oh, that sucks, because I'm over here dying of pneumonia, and he's just gotten over COVID. And then I didn't hear from him for like 36 hours. And our tickets went on sale at midnight. And our golden and VIP packages were sold out by 10 a.m.
I believe it.
It took weeks last year. I mean, because we have a decent amount of VIP tickets, but it's, I have noticed that like other shows post, their VIP tickets and stuff, and they sell a lot more than we do. We do keep that number very small. Between our VIP tickets, our early entry passes, which also are all sold out now. We had those for a couple months after tickets released last year. And right now, I mean, the trend, it's so hard to know because so many people are buying early, but we don't know how to forecast or project. There's a very real possibility we will sell out of at least at minimum, our weekend passes will sell out. They did last year, and we're probably going to have to cap Saturday. We talked about it last year, and we had issues with the fire marshal, like keeping count. We expanded last year to accommodate more people, and we are going to expand again this year to accommodate people. But
don't wait. Don't wait, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
don't
guys
wait,
are watching the show, you do not want to wait on the show. And if you can make it to the show, make your plans.
Travis
I'm telling you,
Kuhn.
this is fun.
We're talking about you, Travis Kuhn. I'm sure he's already bought 8 million. I'm sure he's already
He'll
got
be
it
in line
taken
for
care of.
that sledgehammer
I
again.
was going to say, I'm
ScareFest season 2.
Yeah, but let's talk about. Okay, look at so, folks. We've told you, get on ScareFestWeekend.com. Get over there. Take a look what's left. Get your tickets if you really want to come. There's maybe 5 conventions that if somebody was from overseas or the UK and they said, what would you, there's 5 conventions I would tell them to go to, and this is one of them. So it's an event. It's a special event. It's like
it's a destination.
It is a destination. Like if you go to Vegas, you go to what's our girls'
Nightmare Toys.
Nightmare Toys and Nightmare Cafe, and you go see Christy out there. That's a destination. If you go to Kentucky, if you go to Lexington, you got to go to ScareFest. Yeah. And if you love the movies, it's going to be great. Let's talk about while we got you, because I know you got to leave in a couple minutes. But let's talk about the guest list.
Ooh.
There are some huge people. I mean, look at if you left it at this. This is enough to fill up 2 conventions worth of people. But we talked about, we got Matthew Lillard, Skeet's coming, Roger L. Jackson. Yeah. You could probably give them a whole couple rooms by themselves.
Oh, easy.
You got some the Fright Night. You Williams Ragsdale and Dorothy Fielding, who I need to sign something for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. And that's the thing too. Like I know you're a fan of a lot of these people, and John and me are fans, and that's the whole special thing too. Is that you get going, you get grooving, and right when there's a little bit of lull, John would be like, "All right, I got to go get something signed," and I'd be like, "Oh,
I didn't want to be at my table. Luckily, I had 2 helpers, and I was like,
yes, great guys."
Get around Thomas Bruce and his son Jordan. Give a big shout out for all the help they gave me. Even Jordan went over and assisted Beatrice on Sunday, which was great.
We wanted to go meet the governor. We had to get over there and talk to the governor. The governor's another guy that'll spend a couple of minutes with you.
Yes, he was wonderful.
Yeah.
I told him I missed him as the governor. He's like, I miss playing him because I am a huge Walking Dead fan.
Me too.
I do. I mean, he was my favorite, ultimate favorite. I mean, Too Far Gone. We actually had one of the extras on last week. We had oh God, why can't I think of his name right now? But I'm gonna post his name. But I'm terrible with names when I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna be talking about. But awesome and talking about the experience on it. But what a great guy! And I didn't realize how tall he was.
Me either. There've been a couple times where I've been totally shocked. And David Morrissey definitely.
4.
He was pretty tall, and I was like, but it's crazy because the guest list was so expansive last year. Last year was the first time out of the 14 years before that I did not have a chance to meet everybody at the show. And a lot of things. So at the show, we divide and conquer. Brandon runs the front of the house. He is a ticket booth. He's info. He's up there. He's at the front. He's controlling the lines, how fast people are getting in. He and I are talking about what the lines look like in the back. If he needs to slow down entry, he does that so the lines don't get too clogged. And then you've got Nicole. She's like the front middle. And then you've got Wes, and he does like the middle and the back. So we're divided into zones. And then, of course, we've got a ton of people would be here all night. But for years, my job before I was the event director was I was the celebrity liaison with ScareFest. And when they would, we would bring people in, I would communicate either with their rep, with them to coordinate their flight, their hotel stay. If they have food allergies, things like that, I was the person. And I did all of that this year through email, but we're at 3 different hotels now. So when they're coming in, when they're checking in, I can't be at all 3 places. I can't introduce myself and say, if you got an issue, call me. I put it all on paper, and then we have people stationed around to greet them when they come in. But I didn't even get to meet everyone, not even to say, hi, I'm Adrienne. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was busy.
I feel special. I got to see Adrienne for at least 35 seconds the whole weekend.
I got more drive-by hugs from you all.
Yeah.
The hotels are a big deal.
Yeah.
So the hotels are a big deal. So they also give you, I mean, I forget where we stayed, but I loved it because if you didn't want to drive, they had the shuttles that picked you up at our hotel. So, it's a well set up, but how about this, folks? Kane Hodder, CJ Graham, Derek Mears, Warrington Gillette. That's just now. I'm sure there might be some other folks coming. Tyler Main, Dick Warlock. I need to get a whole bunch of stuff signed by Dick Warlock.
Boom, those are getting signed. Those are getting signed.
Danielle Harris. So I don't know if Scout's coming yet, but Danielle Harris.
Announced, isn't she? I think Scout was announced, wasn't she? I don't know. I thought she was announced.
She's not.
David Naughton is going to be there. Adam Green, one of my favorite guys in the whole world. Serena Vincent, for God's sakes. That's just, and plus the Jeepers Creeper truck and, of course, the Christine car. That's just a little bit, folks. When they say there might be 90 people there, what did I just name off? 12, 13? I mean, for God's sakes.
Yeah. It's going to be a year. And there's a lot going into this, and Clarion, Scout hasn't been announced yet.
I thought I saw she was announced, but maybe I was just being hopeful.
No, okay, so what it is, and this has happened a few times, and some of the folks, maybe they're watching, it just keeps saying Facebook user, so I apologize. We have some people in our Facebook group that are on it. So when I was talking about, I didn't get to the point, but Manchester, England has a huge show. When you were talking about Bill Moseley and how great he is, he's wonderful. He has been the last several years in a row. I love Bill. He's one of my favorite people. He's great, but he'll be in Manchester the weekend.
For the Love of Horror. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be at For the Love of Horror. And so we've got several people that they're like, oh, this person would be great at ScareFest this year, but they're going to be in England. So, we really, honestly, we should try to coordinate a little bit as to not.
I think we need a little revolutionary war against England right now. I don't like them taking Scout there.
Well, so they don't have Scout, but what I was going to say is several of the people that we have agreed to bring to the show have already posted on their personal website. Oh, okay. Yep. Chris is exactly who I was talking about. I wasn't sure Chris was watching, so I got to keep teasing him. Danielle and Scout told everyone on their podcast that they will be back in Lexington. Scout is not officially announced. We've had a couple other people who have released their show tour dates, and we're on there, but they're not announced yet. So our super sleuths, Chris Harris is one of them, will be out in the vast expanse of the internet, and they will bring back these little gems of information and share with everyone else. And then I start getting messages, because last year we did have some people that announced they were going to be at ScareFest, and they were not booked with us. So I don't know how that happened. And that's a new one for me. And their guests we would have, we would bring. We've had before, we would bring again, but they weren't booked. So it's different.
Well, even Chris Jericho came walking through with the Terrifier people. I'm like, wait, I'm walking back. I'm seeing Beatrice. I think she was just seeing David Howard Thornton.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho
came, walked around for a while. Steve Zahn came.
Oh, yeah, Steve Zahn. No one recognized Steve Zahn.
I didn't see him. I'm a big fan of Steve Zahn, too.
Yeah.
I did not see him.
And there's a possibility he may be walking around there again this year. You never know.
He might have been undercover.
I was going to say he lives 15 minutes from the convention center.
Wow.
There's a few that I would absolutely love, to have come hang out at the show. But no, you're right. It's crazy. And I was really bummed. I wanted so badly last year. I really wanted to at least say hello to Alexandra Breckenridge. I love her. I watched so many of her shows, and I mean, not even the horror ones. I'm talking like Virgin River. I've been watching Alexandra Breckenridge, and I didn't have the time, not a moment, that I could break away and go and introduce myself and tell her how amazing she is.
So you're going to invite her back just to tell her?
Oh, I'm gonna have to. So
Yeah, I
it's
understand.
not gonna be this year. But I love Alexandra, and I was the big advocate for bringing her, and then I didn't even get a chance to meet her. So bummer. But yeah, it's we're gonna be knocking on the door now. Again, that's not official, but the numbers that we're throwing around right now, the lineup that we're looking at. But also, the strike is over and people are getting, work again. So there's possibility that we're not going to get everybody on our Christmas list, but it's going to be a great time. And
I mean, we got 5 more minutes left here. Can you drop a hint? Somebody, anybody.
I was thinking about that because I know you had asked me.
Here you go, John.
And she blamed me on her post in ScareFest that I was going to do it, which I put Brett up to
peer
it.
pressure.
I'm just kidding.
I let me think. Okay, I would say
somebody in horror movies they will be announcing next.
So, someone that was probably in a horror movie. They may be killed or got killed by somebody in a horror movie.
They may have worn a mask or they may not have worn a mask in a movie.
Yeah. Ooh,
when are you and Wes going to officially announce a few more people? How's that?
Fridays, right?
Friday.
Okay.
So
Friday
guys, go ahead.
But that's what I was saying. Like, I wanted to try to give a hint, but I'm not sure who we've pulled to announce this week. Because it all depends on who we've I would say that I would expect to have a killer time at ScareFest this year. There might be some more killers at ScareFest this year.
For God's sakes, there's so many killers as it is now.
I know.
All right, keep bringing them.
There have been a couple of people that have made this observation. So I feel like it's not a wild observation to make, but there's been a lot of speculation about the fact that we've announced a few Jasons and that we may be getting some more Jasons.
Good old CJ Graham and Tom Matthews, they were on recently.
I know, I saw that. And Tom is a great guest.
Oh, I love that guy. We're working, actually, I just picked it up. We got the Return of the Living Dead that's being shipped soon. I showed you that. We got I need some new centerpieces as much as I love Myers. Yeah. So I got big plans for ScareFest this year. We've always tried to put on a cool table. Obviously I got to bring the Myers still, but there's got to be some new stuff to draw people in to look at some new things.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna fit everything in your booth there. You all were barely fitting in there
believe me, last year I was trying to squeeze every inch I could get, and I kept getting told to push it. I kept trying to push out, but we made it work. It was a fun area, and with the Schwag was sitting with me, big Brett over there, and
we had a great time. That you weren't lying. Some people they say, "Oh, you got to be here signing there. You got to be." But you know what? The vendors area, and I had to do it at Creep IE. I got moved when I was signing at Creep IE, and I got moved to the vendor spot, and I was like, and almost the same spot like as John. So people, this is so funny. People were coming in, and they were running by me to go to and I would say, "Hey, when you're tired of waiting 4 hours, I'm here. I'm right here, babe." Because these people. The whole Scream craze was in there, and they were going to see our buddy Lee Waddell and some other folks, and so it was great. But being in the vendor spot was just as wonderful. So yeah, it's going to be good.
It is, and there's so much, man. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, just right now, like there's so many things that are happening and developing, and we've got some new cool props, so hopefully some cool new photo ops with David Naughton, maybe accompanied by someone with we're looking at having a werewolf, Joe Parrish, that did our big Jaws last year, and he did Joe at Blackgate Studios. He'll be making a couple pieces for us this year, and the werewolf is one of them. And the other one, which may or may not be related to someone that we're bringing to the show, he is going to do a giant graboid from Tremors.
Oh, nice.
And after it's done, I'm going to mount it over my the wall in my living room above my couch. It's going to look like it's bursting out of the,
one of those, like you see the Freddy ones you've seen that come out of the wall. Those are great.
Yeah, and I told Joe, because I saw it, someone had posted it, it might have been photoshopped, but it looked like they had a graboid head mounted on the wall above their couch, and I screenshotted it and I said, you need to make this happen. And the cool thing about having a friend that is so ridiculously talented is a couple of weeks later, I walked into the shop, I sat down in my office chair there, and he pulls out this mini graboid, and it was out of a 3D printer, and he's like, here you go, and he hands it to me, and I'm looking at it, and he was like, that's the model, you know, I got to get it to scale, but that's it. And I'm looking at it and I was like, oh my god. So he's already started on it, and
Wow.
and he I told him he needs to make the little ones and make more of them, and paint them, and people can use them as key ring holders, like for their car keys. Just put it on the wall, have a little graboid bursting out of the wall.
That's
great.
And he's also working on something super cool for the Five Nights at Freddy's fans that are going to be there. You know, because old Matt, I mean, just knocked it out of the park again. William Afton, Five Nights at Freddy's. That was so
Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2. I think it already got greenlit.
Somebody in ScareFest on the post mentioned Michael Gross. Now, Mr. Keaton, I grew up with him in Family Ties even before that.
Right.
I would love to see him. That would be a cool guest.
Yeah,
that would be a cool guest. I'll raise a vote on that one too.
I can say that it's definitely been talked about. I can't say that anything is in the works, but I can say that we are on the hunt.
I know you guys. I know Brandon said I'd love to see him. I agree. When you see Brandon say I agree, I'd love to have him.
I told
or if
him,
he says how much money do you think I got? You know, it's out of the range.
Calm down with that and the Yahtzee posts, because everybody knows when Brandon's out here talking about Yahtzee that we just like landed somebody that Brandon's been super hyped about. People catch on, and I bummed that Chris Harris isn't here because he's like one of the main perpetrators. But
well, that's you guys though too, and it's great. I mean, you guys put on a huge convention. You guys do amazing work, but you're also fans too of the Johnny. I mean, like you're like Brandon. I'd love to meet Michael Gross. You know, I mean, you know, I mean, so you get it where it's like there's still people that you guys can't wait to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Point. I mean, that's the thing. Well, and it's not just that. Like, it is, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, there's people obviously that you want to meet and bring the final girls. I mean, that was just something like, you know, Brandon comes up with these fantastic ideas. We've got another one that is in the pipes that if it works out and we can get those folks, cannot wait to tell you all about it. But it's a big anniversary year for this movie. It would be phenomenal to have them. They rarely do shows. They're not booked at anything this year. I'm just waiting on an email back. So
the cast of Mary Poppins.
Maybe.
Yes.
It could be. It could be. I love me some supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
That's right.
But no, yeah, definitely getting to meet some people, but also just getting to, you don't really get to hang out with your people though. Like you all, I mean, I tried every time I walked by, I was like, oh, hi, hello. But yeah.
Most of the time when I'd get a chance to walk around, I'd either go and see B and Brian Bremer because they were sitting next to each other. And that's a section I tend to go to when I was at a little bit of free time, which was great. You know, I mean, the thing is, most of the guests
right across from them, Robert Mukes.
Yeah, all the Friday girls,
and the Friday girls,
and Mukes, and Robert Mukes, who was really, really cool. Like I said before the stream, I really liked him. He was a giant. You know, the dude's a giant. Another guy who makes me feel like I'm 5'11" or 5'1". Take away one of those ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of the and Robert, I mean, salt of the earth, man. And also like what Brett was saying earlier about getting booked, or, you know, like shows wanting to have you back. I had a promoter reach out to me asking me about like certain people, and I was like, hey, you know what? You know who would be really good at your show? I was like, bring Robert Mukes. I was like, because he asked me about your show and he wants to do it. And he is just so nice and easy to work with. And, you know, we are so beyond just really lucky to have so many phenomenal people. I mean, you all are prime shining examples of this, like that are just so invested in making it a great event and, you know, hosting me tonight, promoting, sharing, commenting on things, you know, like last year when we did the sledgehammers, Brett's out there like, hey, come and meet me. Like, I'm not gonna actually bash your head in with this thing. You know, I'm pretty cool. I won't bite. Come see me. And yeah, it's beyond words, you know. I feel like we could talk for 10 hours and not say
We
nothing.
could.
Well, we're
But
fans.
ladies and
I
gentlemen,
mean, we're fans of ScareFest, but we're also fans of you as people. I mean, like,
yes.
You guys are the whole package.
You all are too.
But ScareFestWeekend.com, folks. Make sure you get in there. As she said, a lot of stuff is already sold out. So I can't implore you enough to go in there and check it out and at least come down for one day if you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, Saturday is the main event. That's going to be super swamp, but Sunday's just as good. Friday night's just as good.
Yes.
Come see it. Well, come see John and come see Adrienne and see everybody there. And it's going to be busy, busy, busy. And I'm excited to see some of these Friday on ScareFest TV.
Yeah, the announcements are always so much fun. It was like, who's going to be next?
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Well, have fun tonight and your meeting at 12 o'clock. And
Actually, my meeting was supposed to start 8 minutes ago, but that's okay.
Okay.
You were on Shootin the Shizz with DK and The Schwag. Things can wait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you all.
All right, Big John.
Thank you. And tomorrow night, me and my buddy James Shaver, Carolina Kiwi, he's joining me in Carolina at FearFest. See our good friend Matt Burns, a bunch of other people, Brian Bremer.
Awesome.
I don't know, but I would love to see a bunch of different people there. But yeah, I'm excited for Carolina, but I'm excited for ScareFest. 2 big shows tomorrow night. James Shaver, who's going to be joining me, I'm going to be unboxing a mask, a Freddy Krueger inspired hawk.
Nice.
He's going to come on. He's going to show probably his Cujo he was talking about. I know CJ
yes.
Graham just got the Harry and the Hendersons. He did the Sasquatch, made CJ look small. So it'll be fun talking to him tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, same time, I'll be with James Shaver. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you, Big Schwag. Love you guys. I think you guys are amazing, and I will talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace.